Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for taking your time to be here once more. Today is not just any other day, it's actually a powerful step towards your healing. This means that you are no longer stuck, you are growing and you are becoming stronger. So together we will rise above this pain and embrace personal growth. Okay, so while we're embracing personal growth, we are also going to unlock the hidden potential that is already within us. Okay, so let's do this. In our last video, we discussed about the definition of emotional healing. We also discussed about why emotional healing matters. Okay, so today we want to discuss about the common emotional wounds that we usually move around with, and to not acknowledge how big and serious it is in our life against a personal growth. Okay, so why are we doing this? Because we want to know the things that blocks us from achieving our highest potential, the things that delays us from becoming the person that we want to be, or from living the life that we've always dreamt of. Okay, so one of those things that usually blocks us from achieving our highest potential is loss. Loss is experienced when someone you love, somebody you value, somebody you don't want to lose, when you finally lose them, you experience loss. And a result of loss is grief. So how do you know that you have this common emotional wound? This is when you are experiencing confusion, if you are experiencing anger, if you are experiencing sadness, if you have like a loss of interest in the activities that you usually enjoy because of the loss of somebody in your life, then you should know, that is how you're going to know that you are experiencing this common emotional wound. Okay, so another common emotional wound that we usually experience in our life and regard it as common, like it's part of life, is abandonment. Abandonment and also rejection. So with rejection, this is when a group of people, or the people that you value in your life, or just a group of people that you want to belong to, decide to dismiss you in their activities, or just behave as if you don't exist. This makes you feel so insecure. It makes you feel unworthy. It makes you feel angry. It makes you, it makes you feel shameful of yourself, because you begin to wonder, what is wrong with me? Why are people not including me in their activities? Why are they dismissing me? So at the end of the day, it builds up in your life, and you tend to have you end up having this emotional wound, which if you don't understand that it's a problem, you accept as part of your life, and then it blocks you from progressing in life. Things that you are usually interested in, you are no longer interested in. Things that you're supposed to perform with excellence, you prefer to perform with excellence, because you've got that doubt about yourself. You've got that unworthiness feeling within yourself. So you don't perform your best anymore because of this kind of emotional wound. Okay, another one is abandonment. This is when, like, somebody you love, someone you want to belong to, decides to leave you behind. They leave you behind, maybe like what we said, not including you in their activities, or even communicating with you, or encouraging you about your existence in their life, the value that they have of you in their life. They decide not to do that. They just leave you, and you just exist just like that. And they decide to cut you off from their clique, from their groups, or the community. So you feel so abandoned, you feel fearful, it makes you feel insecure and lonely. Yeah, so you also, it makes you, because you feel like that, you fail to perform your best in life. Like the activities that have been given to you to perform, you don't perform them with excellence because you've got this fear in you, you feel insecure, you feel unworthy, you feel you're just not the same person that you usually are when these people acknowledge you, when they value you, when they show you appreciation. Okay, so when if you are experiencing these kind of emotional wounds, then it means you need to take action. But at the same time, you are no longer stuck, because now you have discovered that it's a problem, and we are going to rise above this together and unlock the hidden potential that is already in you. Okay, because now that you know, nothing can stop you. It's now a matter of you pushing it aside, removing it from your life, so that you can continue to grow and become the best version of your life. Okay. Okay, so another common wound that we usually go around with, which we have accepted that it's part of our life, is trauma or abuse. So we experience trauma when we are going through distressful or harmful events that actually overwhelm our ability to cope. Okay, so this is some activities that continuously happen in our life, which eventually causes us to fail to cope. We can't perform with excellence. We can't perform with our best ability because of this activity, this harmful event that is continuously happening in our lives. Okay, so trauma can be experienced emotionally, it can be experienced physically, it can be experienced mentally. For example, like if you are involved in a car accident, okay, you are involved in a car accident and everybody else that was in it dies, and you're the only one that has survived, and you have survived with a broken leg or a broken hand. So that is a physical trauma, because then you won't be performing the best of your ability as when you were physically fit. Okay, and you can also experience mental trauma because you fail to understand why you have survived and everybody else is gone. You tend to blame God why he has left you, in that state, when he could have just taken you like everybody else, as everybody else that has died from this accident. Emotionally, because you become confused, you become sad for losing these people that you loved so much, and you are sometimes probably the only one left in your family, and everybody else is gone. So you fail to understand why this has happened to you and in this state. So you experience emotional trauma. And another thing that we go through, which we fail to acknowledge that it's actually serious and blocking us from progressing in life, is abuse. Abuse, you experience abuse through mistreatment from people, it can be your close friend, it can be your family members, it can be your spouse, it can be at work. You experience abuse in so many ways: physically, emotionally, financially, mentally. There's so many kinds of abuse that you experience in life, which causes you to stop performing the way you usually perform. You become you tend to doubt yourself, and you tend to not become interested in the things that you always do. You can't become creative, you cannot see out of the box. It makes you feel worthless. So when you leave these things unattended, and if you do not acknowledge that this is what is actually happening to you, it can stop you from progressing in life, because your focus every day will be, why are people treating me like this? Why has God left me to be in such a state when everybody else is okay? Why you have so many whys when you wake up each day, and become bitter about not being able to find the answers to your whys. And then that way the day will pass and years will go while you are still asking why this has happened to you, why you're being mistreated, why things are not going well with you, because of these kind of activities that have happened in your life and is causing you to fail to cope. So when you acknowledge that these activities are actually trauma and abuse and it's actually an emotional wound, then it makes you become unstuck. You stop being stuck. Now you start finding ways on how you can move forward out of this box. So by knowing this today, it's your personal growth. It's your big step towards your personal growth. Because now you know you are no longer stuck. You now know that it's a problem that you need to face. You need to overcome. Okay? And there are steps that you need to take for you to overcome this kind of emotional wounds. And that is what we're going to discuss in our next video. Okay? But for now, let's continue to our next emotional trauma, which is failure or guilt. Okay? Okay, another common emotional wound that we usually move around with and not acknowledge the impact that it has over our progress in life is failure and also guilt. With failure, this is when you experience when you fail to achieve a certain goal in your life. Yeah, you experience feelings of disappointment, you experience feelings of frustration, you experience feelings of shame because you failed to achieve a certain goal in your life. Okay, and also with guilt, it's this is when you know yourself that your action has actually hurt somebody else. You know and you are convinced that the actions that you have been taking were hurting somebody else or a certain moral standard, or it's damaging to someone else, which you know you could have done better than what you've been doing. So you end up feeling guilty for behaving in that manner and for hurting people in that way. And now you fail to um, like understand, or you feel shameful, you feel sad, and it breaks your heart that you actually did this thing and then when you could have done better than what you've done. So you end up feeling guilty. You end up feeling guilty for behaving in that manner, the way you have behaved to these people. Another example is when, say, maybe you failed an exam, and then after some time, when you think about it, you know that you didn't do your best. You were not even working hard for you to actually get a good grade or to pass that exam. So you feel guilty for not working extra hard, for not putting much of your effort in this thing so that you may come up with flying colors. So these are the areas that when neglected, when not acknowledged, when just accepted that it's part of life, it can block us from moving forward in life. It can block us from achieving the things that God has set out for us to achieve, or what we have been destined to achieve in this life. Because everyone has a destiny to achieve. Everyone has an assignment to achieve. But if you don't acknowledge that you have an assignment to achieve, plus these emotional wounds that are happening in your life, it makes it so difficult for you to rise above, to achieve that purpose which God has created you for. So I hope that at the end of this video, we will choose to acknowledge these emotional wounds that we have in our life and choose to move forward, to move forward and find ways in which we can get better. So in our next video, we're going to discuss about the steps that one can take to heal from these emotional wounds. Okay, thank you.